profile, but I can see that it is only for government business. They are getting students who are not really capable. Some students are very good. I will repeat another thing: girls are better than boys in that area. So because they are coming to higher education, then they have to be good. But are we really providing them the proper way whether they
See, again I'm saying prototyping.
No, exactly this. I mean, what she's trying to basically say is more institutes do not have an infrastructure or the systems to make
Bangalore is full of private
business
money.
So are we talking about the need for a public-private partnership in education?
Yeah.
Would that be?
But the coming era is very difficult. If you really want to have a good university, you have to give good infrastructure, good faculty. Then only you will rise. You see, the private university is the need for need. And I think that most of the private universities are working better than the government institute. Forget about IITs, but NITs and other government state colleges, private universities are far better.
I totally
Far
agree.
better in what sense?
They're far better in study structures, they're far better in infrastructure. If you talk of Lucknow, we have a number of government colleges. If you talk of HBTI Kanpur, we know, I can tell you, that's exactly what I'm trying to tell you now, that the government college are enjoying their branding by virtue of being government college. It doesn't mean that they're providing quality education. They don't even have labs in place. So let us not categorize private and non-private. Let us go by merit. Let us go by people who are trying to do some good quality job, and let us put them in a different bracket altogether, because they're really concerned about infrastructure. You can only get good faculty if you're paying them well. We all know about it. So people with right vision will definitely make a difference.
Yes. Recently, I took an interview of a BTech.
There should be one line for
Herself from electrical engineering. She's from a private university. But let me tell you honestly, the quality, it's on negative side. Although that university is AICTE recognized, but when I checked with her, she has not done any of her training after.
Because the
second year,
screening is not there.
Yeah, after second year, no training. After third year, no training. And now, when she's not getting placed anywhere, she's trying her luck in life. So that is, this case is, we are IIT pass outs.
facility which my PhD student wanted to do. I just contacted Professor here, and my student is working 6 months, last 6 months to the IIT Electrical Engineering lab.
I like to this, a number of my teachers from my institute they already collaborated with a number of professors from IIT, from civil engineering departments and a number of departments. So we are in touch with a number of faculties with IIT Kanpur, and whosoever would like to get associated with teachers, infrastructure, labs, we provide that platform and they do it. So it's totally on the intention and the
It's a
vision.
two-way process.
IIT is very open for that actually. They help. You really want
And
to
now they are taking
get
IT
there.
retired professors also in private universities.
Number of them. We have around 90% of our teachers from IITs. 90%.
Retired.
No, no.
No,
Smriti is working with me.
Okay.
What she means is IIT graduates.
IIT graduates. It's a
Faculty.
mixed track.
Okay, so so that is, so we are talking about employment in the education sector for IIT. So now coming back to the discussion here, we have again industry, agriculture and services, and we understand how different these are and where there needs to be improvement. So again, women, when we talk about Make in India, we just discussed all of this. Education, inclusive. Where we wanted education to be a uniform package across various colleges and institutes. Then we want employment, entrepreneurship. Ma'am just discussed about incubators being there, but are not really there. Aparna ma'am, Manipuri ma'am, elaborate on really the actual core Make in India. I see these as the three different dimensions. One is capacity building, which we have discussed. The other is employment and entrepreneurship, and including women and rural India. Is that the way forward? Is that what we think of it?
So I can tell you, I know some people, they're business people actually, but what they've done is that in the rural area around them, they've spent a good bit of their money to bring up all the villages. They've adopted kind of a whole lot of villages, and as part of their business venture, they're bringing them.
Okay.
So I think this is the kind of thing which is needed.
Yes, but many NGOs are working. See, the problem is the women. We are discussing women. See, women always is lesser as compared to men. Education, jobs, employment, and being poor and uneducated is the biggest weakness of women, I would say. So many NGOs, they are taking up this social problems. How to address social problems by technology. See, like they have started, I will tell you, because they want to finish education by 2019. And so for that, what they have started, many of this that also involve technology, they are training women in villages, in masonry work, in plumbing work, in electric wiring, so that they can build up their own toilets. And so sustainable toilets, and also they are talking about how to take care of health, because women's means sanitation, health and hygiene, personal hygiene is very important. So because now they can build their own toilets, they know little bit of plumbing, electric wiring, they know masonry work and all, So, and also in some, I was reading, because usually I am very particular about reading newspaper, that they call computer-aided vocational education training they are giving. They are learning all vocational trainings, like you take simple research meeting and all through computers actually. So, that way also they are learning. Even not only this, they are teaching women what are their rights, about learn what are their rights. They should know the rights, and also like this thing, they are governed by their parents or husbands and all. And some of these, now 30% of women should be sarpanch or panchayats, So they are also being told how to do governance and what are their rights, means they should know. So like, I will give you a simple example. I read in newspaper only, this public distribution system, when poor people go, they are not giving them ration, so they are standing in queue. So some of this women sarpanch, they took away register, not only this, they Xerox it. They have to have proof, and they went to collector that he is not distributing. So that's how they are educating them actually.
So I think this.
contribution.
That is,
And,
women are in most of the this thing. Whatever men's contribution is there, women are also coming.
Sure. What I feel as we all in either academia or in industry or at least so people who are not very well educated or well trained, they have an excuse. They do not know. But people who are people like us, what can we contribute? How can we contribute? And being in research and being in science for a long time, not so long as man, but at least I have figured out that at least it becomes our responsibility that we should rather take up at least one project among ourselves which is not just purely academic. Most of us, being from academia, we tend to have academic projects which basically give us publications, which basically give us, we write books or something. Rather than we should take up some translation projects, and especially which hits the poor, which actually does them. So I will just share one short story, which is not mine, which is one of my colleagues, who figured out that in a particular village, he figured out that women who were actually non-smokers had major issues with asthma, whereas the males were not. And this was really a very an issue which we were not able to solve. And what we figured out, the kind of fossil fuel or the kind of fuel which was used in the house, so women were exposed to that smoke. And that was, so we actually developed that so incidentally I'm also involved with the business development and technology transfer. And we developed an algorithm with which you just have the exhaled breath condensate, and you can figure out what kind of particulate matter is there. And now we are trying to, with the help of private party, we are trying to have better chullas, which are smokeless. And so, as either as an entrepreneur or as an educated scientist or in this field, I think our contribution should be in this direction.
That is very aptly put, Jyoti, and it is. I think it is the need of the hour. Where in India, I think we've traditionally been very good at education. When you compare a graduate from any institute in India, not in particular IITs, to a similar qualified person from around the world, and you would see that we are way better when we know a lot of theoretical stuff. But when it comes to actually implementing it for real life situations, that is where I think we need to get out and try to do that. We should not be.
It's a mindset which needs to be.
Some are teaching them how to make the gas plant out of fuel and all that. In villages, the trap-based, in many villages have now the cooking gas plants.
And then education, I think, is not limited to science and technology. I think education is, only when there is awareness created. Awareness is one kind of education that we have to. We make sure that we give to rural India. We give to the people that are deprived. Awareness in terms of governance, as Ma'am said, that is very essential. That's an essential part of what is it that a person needs in his or her day-to-day life is more important than maybe going to Mars. That aside, that is also an important project. But when we talk about grassroots level, what are we doing there? How can the main purpose of being in India should be how can these institutes grow or diversify themselves from obligations alone? Publish, that is fine. But apart from that, take up a project and prove yourself in the grassroots level. Make sure that it's
One small baby step actually.
yes, even a little thing that you do at a level which impacts a person's daily life or his or her daily activities, improves somebody's life. I think
I
that
will
is
give you
more
another example, this leather work. This designing and all. Zips are so bad and fine finishing touches are so bad. Our products. So what they do, many NGOs, this foreign women, they come, they give their designs and things and all, and they they sell them. Means we have to improve our
quality.
Are you able to add one point? Within the paradoxical statement here, on one hand we say that our quality of education is improving in our country. We are also happy by looking at the increasing enrollment of girls in school and higher education level. We always clap when we hear that women are securing the first, second, third level merit position in the state board and higher secondary education. But we
we don't consider the reasons why the same set of girls do not go higher up in the organizations, in the academic institutes. So there are studies which show that the age of 30 to 45 is the most crucial age period for women. This is the time when they are settling in personal life, they are reaching motherhood, and they are also clubbed to the family responsibilities. So in the present day scenario, with all the government initiative or the institute initiative, enrollment in colleges is not a big problem as it was in 70s and 80s. The bigger problem from what I see is the retention of women in the institutes and career. So we should see from that point of view. But second thing, when we see from a feminist point, when we see from women's lens, we tend to generalize the things. We club rural, urban, middle class, low educated, high educated women in the same spectrum, which should not be done. For example, I'm also associated with some NGOs. I met a girl who said that in her family there was no one educated but her. For her, passing the middle school or 10th standard was the greatest achievement. She did not have the ambition to go for a PhD or a job. She was happy with her 10th education and she was happy that she was able to teach her children. So we should look at the different problem sets of different women. Within women, we have different groups. So we should not generalize that this should be done for everyone. This is what I can add.
Thank you. That is also very relevant. We should not, I mean, like the same amount of sector study, we have divided. So we should also, each group has their own growth rate or what they want to achieve or what will be best for them to achieve. So I mean, for somebody like me, I mean, where I should be 10 years from now or my goals should be totally different from somebody else. So as long as we can channelize our efforts, in research or science and technology, target what each group needs and then provide that kind of infrastructure for technology appropriately, that will also help.
And for going for entrepreneurship, I feel we need the training. See, I can train research fellows and all. Organic chemistry is, that means there are so much complex research people. But I have to have some training in finance and all. Means how to invest money and how to calculate profit and all. Those things we are doing, so that kind of training is very important.
So that's actually a big thing. I mean, from my personal experience, I can say that when I was working in this company in the US, all of a sudden I moved back to India in 2006, and then they asked me to set an office in India. And I mean, I had to literally run from pillar to post to figure out, what kind of registration I'm supposed to do. Am I going to be registered as a company? Am I going to be registered as a sole proprietor? I mean, what do I need to do? What is the professional tax? What is sales tax? Am I supposed to pay sales tax? Am I supposed to pay service tax? All kinds of nuances, which we are not really aware of. Again, that is an awareness issue. Because even though I am educated in IIT, I know a lot of stuff. But when it came to the governance aspects, I had no idea. I had really no idea. I mean, how income tax work. I mean, until I was salaried, I mean, वो काटे थे पैसा, हम दे देते थे, हमें कुछ पता नहीं था. और हमें salary काटना है तो हम कैसे करें?
Even in that show, she started a brewery. Her father was a brewer. So she learned that business and slowly she put it.
So there is actually a period of slow, when it's so slow. So that 1 year, believe it or not, I learned accounting. I went for accounting classes. I took help of Prabhakar, my husband's brother is a CA. He installed Tally on my computer and he said, Bhati, you enter your accounts. So I learned to enter my accounts. I learned profit and loss. I know debit ka hona chahiye, credit ka. I know that when I talk to an auditor, I can talk accounting. I need not just tell her. So I did that, and that I mean, it was too much. I mean, I had too many people on my plate. I was running the show for them. I was taking care of family, and I was learning all this stuff. And then I was finding out the legal process behind everything. And
See, I would like to add to this as well, since I am a women entrepreneur. So there are things which you learn in the process. You can't learn everything at the start. I feel you should start somewhere. Keep learning, keep making mistakes, be ready to take risks, and move ahead.
I think step